Non-fungible tokens, also known as NFTs, are a fantastic way of representing assets as we move to an increasingly digital world. Because NFTs leverage the power of blockchain technology and cryptocurrency, it's possible to have an immutable public record of who owns what. But it's also possible to sell and trade assets through decentralized marketplaces. But what if there were times when we didn't want people to be able to transfer certain things? What are some examples of why we would want a non-transferable token, and how would they actually work? That's what we're talking about in today's video. Hey everyone, and welcome back. This is the Part-Time Economist, and in today's video we are talking all about non-transferable tokens. You may occasionally hear them called soulbound tokens. I'm not using soulbound tokens in the video simply because that's very specific kind of to the Ethereum blockchain. I'm talking bigger picture here with regards to any type of non-transferable token regardless of which blockchain that it lives on. So with that being said, let's give the bottom line up front. An NTT, a non-transferable token, is a specific class of NFTs that are non-transferable once issued. So once this is assigned to your crypto wallet, you can't sell it, you can't monetize it, you can't gift it away, and these are typically used to represent things where we would not want them to be transferred. And we'll get into why that is later, but think right now, badges, accomplishment. This should say access. Sorry for the misspelling there. Anything that we wouldn't want to transfer. Now, let's just briefly recap what NFTs are, because I think it's important to understand the starting point of a non-fungible token so that you can understand where a non-transferable token is different. So non-fungible tokens allow ownership and trading of assets, right? So you've probably heard of CryptoPunks, blockchain-based games. People are talking about tokenizing stocks, real estate. Essentially what this does is it allows us to own an asset, a digital asset specifically, but we can also trade that asset on some kind of a marketplace, right? That's standard how NFTs work. You buy something, you hope the price goes up, you sell it later on. With NTTs, we are specifically not wanting people to trade them. And you're probably thinking, hold on, time out, what is going on here? I thought cryptocurrency was all about freedom and empowerment, and now you're telling me I can't even trade my own assets. What's going on? Non-transferable tokens are things that we don't want people to be able to trade. And we can think about this in real life as well. There's lots of things that you probably own right now that are perfectly fine to trade. If you own shares of Walmart or Coca-Cola, no one is going to care if you sell them or if you buy them, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But there's probably other things that you wouldn't want people being able to buy or sell. Let's suppose that you go to Harvard, you become a doctor, you're a really famous surgeon, you're helping all these people, and someone says, you know, I've never went to school, but I'd like to be a surgeon. So they come to you and they say, hey, I know that your degree is something you earned. It's an asset that you have. Could I just buy that degree off of you? That would be really cool. Most of us, I hope all of us would say, no, that should not be transferred to this person, because it's going to, when we see that credential, when we see that diploma, we're going to say, oh, we can trust this person to operate on us, right? So the fact that you have an asset, we wouldn't necessarily want that to be transferred. And we can think of tons of other examples of this, but generally speaking, non-transferable tokens are used when we want something to be uniquely associated with a specific individual. So to use a less serious example than a surgeon, let's suppose you've been playing, I don't know, a blockchain-based game for 3 years, and they give you a little badge that says, I've supported this game for 3 years. And now, you might want to sell this to someone, but if we think bigger picture, that represents an investment in the game. When you have that badge, people are going to look to you for advice. They're going to say, oh, this is a, standard bearer of the community, a big supporter, right? If you sell that badge to someone else that has no knowledge of the game, people are going to give them more credibility. They're going to listen to their opinions that might be unmerited, because they don't have experience in the game, simply because they have that badge. So again, we can think of lots of different examples here, but basically there's some things that we would want to be uniquely associated with the individual that actually earned them. So with that being said, how do these non-transferable tokens actually work? And again, this is why I'm calling them NTTs, non-transferable tokens, instead of soulbound tokens, because each blockchain is going to implement them slightly differently. Just personally speaking, not recommending, but I have more experience on the Wax blockchain. Lower fees, it's a little bit more accessible, at least in my opinion. So most of what I'm talking about is going to come from a Wax blockchain perspective, but again, it's going to be broadly similar across other blockchains as well. Essentially, with an NTT, they just code the smart contract so that it can't be transferred. Remember, on the blockchain, there's no such thing as a physical Bitcoin, a physical NFT, a physical CryptoPunk. All it is it's a record on a database that says this asset is assigned to this address. All we're doing with a non-transferable token is we're saying once it's assigned to this address, it can't move to a different address, right? That's all that it's doing. I mean, obviously the way that this is implemented and coded, can be hard, but as far as a user experience, that's all that it's doing. It's saying don't transfer this from one address to another address. So that's an example. This actually here, I'll give you an example. I played a blockchain-based game called Colonize Mars, and this was a couple years ago when NFTs were really, really hot. And as soon as an NFT project would offer packs for sale, I mean, they would sell out in fractions of a second. So what this game did is they said, hey, if you have been playing the game, if you've invested in the game prior to this thing getting super crazy big, we're going to give you essentially a ticket that allows you to buy into our pack sales. So if we think about this from the NTT perspective, this is saying, hey, you've paid your dues. You've been a part of this game before it got big, before everyone was interested in it. We want to reward that, right? So that was a reward given to us. It's not something that they wanted us to transfer, right? They didn't want their community to be people that just had a lot of money and were buying into the game. That's why they made these non-transferable. They were making sure that the people that had paid their dues, that they were going to get a chance to buy in. So pretty cool example of a non-transferable token there. As far as creating NTTs, again, going to depend on your blockchain. With Wax, it's super easy. You literally just toggle a switch that says, can this asset be transferred or not? So just to recap, I want to go into the comparison between NFTs and NTTs because they're actually very similar. They both represent digital ownership. Owning an NFT is just as real as owning a non-transferable token. They're both on the same immutable blockchain record. So if you have an NFT, you can see who minted it. You can see 30 different people where it has been traded. You can verify that it's authentic. The same with NTTs. If I get my degree from some college, they issue it, I can see who issued this credential, and then I can see it coming to me. The only difference is it's going to stop with me. It can't get traded any further down the line. The biggest difference, NFTs are freely tradable on P2P marketplaces or just in general. NTTs are locked to a specific account. NFTs are burnable, which means if we don't like it, if we can't sell it, we're just done with it. We can send it essentially to an irrecoverable wallet address that basically destroys that NFT. NTTs, they are going to depend on the blockchain. I've heard some talk about some blockchains where you can't burn them, some where you can. Again, that's going to depend on the specific blockchain. But just to wrap everything up, when we think about crypto, we think about freedom, the ability to trade, and that is what non-fungible tokens, NFTs, represent. For 99% of the stuff, that's really cool. That's great. But there are certain things that we don't want people to just sell or trade to the highest bidder, right? If we think about digital identities on the blockchain, if we think about credentials being issued on the blockchain, something, an attribute of a specific wallet address that we want. Again, someone's paid their dues in a game. We don't want them to be able to sell that, right? That's what NTTs, non-transferable tokens, are for. So, as always, nothing in the videos is financial advice, but I do hope you found it useful, and I'll see you next time.